And if everyone built the bike that they thought was cool without influence by what was popular, I think the world would be a lot more interesting place. Hello.
Hey, buddy.
I had to put two pairs of glasses on because one's in case I start to cry, and one's in case if I have to start to see.
It
But
looks sick.
I'll take the outer ones off in a second here. Where? Then I got to get comfortable. So let me go in my room,
Yeah,
take my clothes off. I don't have pants. I don't have pants on anyway right now. Who needs for a Zoom call? You just need a shirt, right?
Yeah, man. I'm the same.
Let me give you a quick tour of the place.
Yeah, man. Let's see.
So this is the
Holy shit.
kind of shop area where I can, it's a mess. I'm painting. Whenever I paint, I got to leave all the paint out because I don't want to touch anything with greasy hands and contaminate any of my paint stuff. And then here's more of the museum and the shop.
Wow, crazy.
Kind of a lot going on right now, and I always thought, your shop should reflect your personality a little bit. And I saw some real cool shops in my day, and then I saw some real sterile environments, and I kind of related to the cave.
Man. Lived
We
in.
won't say that word that yuppies use. It starts with an MAN, and then they say cave at the end. That isn't that. That's for like a guy trying to escape his terrible wife.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for coming on, mate. Really, I appreciate it.
You got it. So what happened? You couldn't get Paul Senior, and I was the next in line.
Fuck off. No, man. Now I've wanted to get you on from the start. I've got a list, and I made it from the very beginning, and I showed a couple of people, and they were like, "You're not gonna get them on. Like, don't be so fucking stupid." And so far, it's doing quite well.
That's killer, man. Good for you.
Yeah, man. We're getting
The worst someone can say is no, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Right.
I've had a couple of people, say, look, I get a few people saying, nah, I'm too awkward. I wouldn't feel comfortable talking about myself for an hour.
Sure. And respect to those people,
Yeah,
there's
totally.
it's a weird thing, at first we had like eBay and you were buying parts on eBay and that was fucking weird.
Yeah.
And then you had a blog maybe and you were like, this is weird. And I never did MySpace or Facebook, only because I wanted to vomit shit onto people via the blog
Yeah,
and
man.
not have to really interact unless I had to. And that's why I never had the MySpace because I didn't want to see my aunt and uncle and dad
Yeah.
and mom. It's like if you click the blog, you're entering my fucking world,
Yeah, man. Yeah.
And then if you clicked your blog or your buddy's blog, you knew.
Yeah.
I just started Facebook, of course, for the marketplace because it's like, Craigslist or whatever.
Yeah.
It's pretty insane. But
Some
aside
gems.
from that, I went from the blog to Instagram, and that was all of it's bizarre, but now the you and I could never do this 20 years ago.
No, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Where are you? What city?
So I live near a little city. It's a city. It's got a cathedral, so it's classed as a city, but it's fucking small. It's called Carlisle. It's on the borders of Scotland.
Cool.
Like, so if you drive for 10 minutes, you're into Scotland.
How far from Livingston?
Uh an hour and a half.
Okay. I've
Yeah.
been there. I've
How
been
come?
there.
How come you went there?
There's an old skate park there.
Oh
Really
shit, yeah.
famous. Yeah, there's a guy. You guys have a pretty amazing pro skater, pretty amazing personality, to tell you the truth. Uh, Stu. I have this brain. I just said it in
Yeah.
my head, but now that I need
No,
to
it's
think of
yeah.
it, but he's a bitchin' skater, bald headed, missing teeth, tattooed,
Sick.
and he's just a maniac. And he's from Livingston, Scotland.
Oh,
But we
cool.
went there. I skated some contests in Europe one year, and they said, "Oh, we got to go to this park in Livingston." And we got there, and it was fogged over, and we were camping out at the skate park illegally, and we had taken a shopping cart apart to turn it into a barbecue. And man, people would come, and they were just like, "The fuck are these?" There's like 12 of us,
That's
just
sick.
vagabonds, skating this old concrete park.
Yeah.
But that was I would, a few locals showed up, and the accent thing was insane.
Yeah, man.
uh the guy goes, he's blasting over this hit, and I go, "Man, what's the line, dude? How do you blast that spot? We couldn't do it." And I was with some really good skateboarders, and the kid goes, "You go to it, little hunter." What? "You go to it, little hunter." And I was like, "What the fuck?" And he got frustrated because
Yeah,
to
yeah.
him, he's speaking English. We speak English. Let's go. And he points to this piece of graffiti, and it says "Little Hunter."
Right.
And he was saying, "You got to hit Little Hunter. Like that's the blasting point." But
Ah,
what
sick.
I heard was, "You go to eat Little Hunter."
Yeah, man. I mean, there's even people here that can't understand people from Livingston.
Right,
And
right.
we're not that far away. You know what I mean? It's yeah.
Yeah, it's so such a trip. It's like all English, but
Yeah.
it's so
Not.
different.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
right,
Yeah.
right. I love it. I hope it all. I get worried that the world's gonna all melt into one thing, and
Yeah,
it's
man.
so cool to go, to hear someone on a train and be like, "I think they're from like Luzon, Switzerland,
Yeah.
because they're speaking French this particular way."
Yeah, totally.
But yeah,
Yeah, man. That's one thing like we're so lucky for. Like I always go on to it like all the American guests, how jealous I am, how you guys like in the States, you can just ride and ride, it's for days and weeks and stuff like that. But I mean, really, we're so lucky because we've got so many cultures like 1 day ride from here. You know what I mean? And you're in
for
Europe,
sure.
you know what I mean? So
That's the coolest thing. I used to go there to skate, and we got hip to the trains and the Eurail pass when it was like 300
yeah.
bucks.
Yeah,
And I
man.
remember that I was 17 or 18. I had never left the country. I had only been on a plane to go, from California to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the other side where I was born,
Yeah.
and maybe LA. And it was weird because I acted like I had done it. I was like,
Yeah.
"All right, I'm going to Europe." And I got there, and I was like, "Holy fuck." And we would take the train from, France to Germany I remember we went to the Czech Republic, and I was just like, they would shake us awake in the middle of the night. "Hey, passport,
Yeah.
passport, you're and you're here."
Yeah. Yeah.
But every time I thought the dude was going to keep it and take it, and it's just like
Yeah.
terrified of any sort of authority.
I've had that a couple of times, like getting the train through Germany where they'll take my passport and they'll leave with it. And they've got it for like 15 minutes. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah. Did you look like this when that happened?
Yeah. Yeah. It
Yeah,
happens all the time. It's
I'm sure.
yeah.
I'm sure. So tell me about your podcast a little bit, like what you're trying to capture through it.
Man, just this really. Just what we're doing now. Just two guys just talk just I had Terry Shanks on and he kind of summed it up perfectly. He said that people today are starving for something real.
Right.
And that's all I really want to give. It's like when people DM, they're like, "Man, I just feel like I'm like a fly on the wall, and I get to hear a conversation between two people that I never usually would."
Yeah,
And it seems to inspire a lot of people. It's getting them out in their garage, it's getting them through work and shit like that.
for sure. A long drive. I do it
Totally.
all, on the drive.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
but it's true. Sometimes I sometimes surf in San Francisco. I'm not a good surfer. I started later in life, but I got to sit in a fair amount of traffic. And you put on Metallica, Kill 'Em All, and you want to fucking punch the windshield. And you put on some jazz or mellow music, and you want to fall asleep. But the podcast, it's like, yeah, you're in there with your buddies, almost like talking
Yeah.
to, talking at the dude, like, "You fucking idiot. That's not how it happened." But
Totally.
that part of that, there's plenty of days I want to throw this fucking phone into the gutter, like we all do, or I know I'm sure you do.
Yeah.
And then you go, well, the maps are pretty cool. The maps are fucking cool. And you know, if everyone decided to delete Instagram tomorrow, you know, where someone wouldn't have a monopoly over the
Yeah.
podcast or whatever, I'm down. Let's
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Fuck
Yeah.
it. Let's go back to email.
Yeah. Totally.
Or the blog or whatever. But the podcast is one of those things. You listen to a murder mystery,
Yeah,
you
man.
listen to some other bullshit. You know,
Yeah.
I listened to a punk rock one the other day because they interviewed Ian MacKaye from Minor Threat,
Awesome.
and he talked about a dude that I worked with as a shipper that wanted to be Henry Rollins. It's a quick story. I'm 16. I get a job at the skateboard company as a shipper. And I look at this dude and I'm like, this dude is dressed head to toe like Henry Rollins, same tats. And the owner goes, yeah, this is Sperry. You know, he wants to be Henry Rollins. And I kind of went like, oh, but the dude sang in a band, wrote a book. And Ian MacKaye mentioned him because they had mentioned him on the podcast. And dude, it put me down this rabbit hole on this guy that I worked with 30 some years ago. Would have never ever happened without this little thing here.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I just that's I just like that it's real, you know? Like I did a show the weekend before last, and the guy who had the booth next to me comes up to me and he was like, fuck, I love your fucking podcast. And I'm like, oh, thanks so much. And he's like, I feel like we're friends already because I listen to you and you say all the shit that I think. And, you know, and I was like, oh, that's what I want. That's, you know, just building that community. And, you know, and like, I get invited out to, you know, ride out there now and I'm learning, you know what I mean? I'm on this everlasting fucking quest for like knowledge.
For sure.
This way I just get to learn about fucking chopper, about everything, you know? So it's
so are you into a certain style bike or like a certain thing?
So I've got a 49 panhead, which I'm it's in a shovel head frame. I'm gonna take it all back to original. I've got a 1200 Sportster that kind of looks like, you know, in 6 Over that you were in. Eddie Cleveland's.
Yeah.
You know, I kind of gone for that kind of look with that. I really love like Dick Allen's builds, you know, like just like when you look at the bike, you're like, holy shit, that guy, whoever owns that bike must be fucking crazy.
Right.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's cool. So the 49 you're gonna make bone stock or just
I mean
chopper and stock frame?
Yeah, so like a chopper stock frame. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
With that's
like
you know why there's cool. Do you know why there's so many 49s? Have you ever heard of this?
No.
Like 49s are 48s are harder to find than 49s, and then 49s there's a lot. It's because it was the first year of the hydraulic front end. So they were like, man, we got this front end that doesn't buck you into the air, and it's not the little Springer, which I love a Springer, but if you had to ride somewhere far and someone said you want the pan with the Springer or the wide glide, the Hydra Glide, you'd probably take the Hydra Glide. But that's always what I heard, that they were like pushing that thing, like featuring the Hydra Glide, this new suspension for the front. And that's why I've heard there's a ton of 49s, because I always come across 49s.
That's what I mean. Like I would have never have known that unless, you know what I mean? So it's
right. Yeah. That's cool.
So so that's my plan with that. Just I really like bare bones, you know, and just I was talking about it on the last episode. I mean, it was your 6 Over, that Knucklehead. The
blue one.
Yeah, that's what got me into choppers.
That's cool, man.
That.
Yeah.
No word of a lie.
That was I had bought a knuckle, a 46. That's what that one was. And it came in an early frame. It was really cool. It was pretty de-raked. Like the early knuckle frames had less rake, right? So the wheel's closer. And it always rode a little bit funny. And one day I was looking at the frame and I was like, motherfucker, this frame, one rail was bent And so it was kind of doing this thing. And I had heard about some parts in the Oakland Hills, like a real goose chase. And I get there, and the dude lifts up a clawfoot bathtub, big ass tub. He's just in a junky fucking part of town, just a wild scene. And he picks it up and he slides that frame out from under the tub.
Sick.
And the first thing I noticed was the neck was like way raped, and I was like, I'm not a long bike guy. It's not like for my build and everything, it's not right, and for where I have to ride here in the city, it's no good. And I got nothing against them. People ask me sometimes why, and it's not that. It's more just like my geography. So first thing I did was cut the frame. It was a straight leg panhead frame, you know, which looks kind of like a knuckle frame. So I welded the frame to my table and kind of straightened, leveled it out, and cut the neck, stuck a big pipe through the neck, and took it back to about 28 or 29 degrees.
Right.
And I had that extended VL, and you know that you know the story of the bike, right? That I lied and said I found it in the garage, and hurt some people's feelings, which was hilarious. You know, if it was April Fool's, it would have made sense, but it's my weird sense of humor. And one of my mentors, this older guy, said, you know, what's your exit strategy for this? Because you're kind of lying. And I said, man, I'm not fucking lying. I'm just playing with people's emotions.
Yeah.
And then I had to come clean, but it was cool because I even had the old Chevy car covers and an old Vietnam era sleeping bag, and it was cool. Someone said they did. So Dachshund mids are really popular, right? Like the Lee pedal and the Dachshund mids. I had found all original of those long ago, but I had bent up a lot for other bikes of mine. And so people thought those mids were my thing. And one guy goes, oh, I knew it wasn't real because it had your mids on it.
Oh, shit.
And I said, no, man, those are the real deal from Oakland or from Vallejo from the time. They were the real Stan mids. Yeah. So that was kind of cool. Like the one thing they thought they had me on, they were wrong on. But everything else was a lie.
Yeah, I fucking love it though.
Yeah.
So tell us how did you get started then? How did it all come about, the bike thing?
So I was like a lot of young kids when I saw the lawnmower engine mini bike. I nearly died. You know, the noise of it, the sound of the chain, someone yanking on the starter. I had to have one, and I had an older brother at the time, and he was more of a gearhead than me, and you know, like a punk from the start. And he would take shit from people, and he was just kind of that guy. And at some point, one of those things got wheeled home, and I was like, I want it. And he said, this is mine. And then he goes, I know where one is for $25. So I bought this one for $25, probably mowed the neighbor's lawn and cleaned the gutters and sold some apples. We had all these hustles, my brother and I got the thing, but every time I would ride it, the chain would go flying, because I think, well, not every time. Sometimes it would last a little while, but I was putting the master link clip on backwards.
Right.
And it would hit something and it would knock it off. It would go flying, and then the chain would go flying. Right. So then I would go back down to the lawnmower store, and I would order a new master link. Yeah. To the point where the one day the guy goes $1.50 or whatever, and $1.50. Is that a kid? You know, $1.50. You're like, I get a candy bar or whatever. And he goes to me, "What are you doing? Eating these things for breakfast?" And I answered him. I go, "Who would eat these for breakfast?" Because I was like 8 years old, you know.
Yeah.
And but you know, as I remember, even we would skid so much on the thing, the little metal flap that would cause the thing to break. We wore through the metal. It ended up splitting, but like anything that came in front of my brother and I got destroyed. So that, being a young boy, the noisy mini bike and the noisy skateboard were the attraction. And then I got some little Hondas and stuff. And probably like a lot of you listening, you never really, when you see a chopper, you don't think at 15, 16 you could ever own one. Like
Yeah, totally.
you have to have a Iron Cross fucking tattoo on your forehead. And, you know, around here you'd have cowboy cut denim jeans pressed in the front, you know, like very Terry the Tramp style. And as I got older, I saw people with them, and I was like, this is a go. You know, this is a fucking go. And I had like an old Chevy truck and this and that. And I've told this story, so I'll make it quick. But right down the road from where I live, a guy had a yard sale, and I just would stop, and he'd you know, missing teeth, and it's buckets. I put him on my Instagram.
Yeah.
And we became buddies. And he was like a real gnarly pervert, man. Like if a woman walked by, I would be like, oh, fuck, here we go. And he would say, outrageous, not humiliate her, usually compliment her.
Yeah.
But then the banter afterwards to me was, I would just be like, bro, I was raised by my mother. I have a sister. Like, but, you know, just classic old biker. And he took a liking to me, or he liked the attention at the time. You know, he was such a throwback, and he sold me my first generator shovel, and it was a shovel front with a knuckle back frame, and everything was pennies on the dollar.
Yeah.
It was actually expensive to me at the time, like $300 for a frame. You know, it's like, fuck, you know, okay, I'll be back, save it. And but I was so damn clueless. I remember once I picked up a Springer rocker, just one, and then fucking like a Sportster primary and something else. And I was like, and he goes, what are you going to do with that? And I go, I don't know. I got it from my bike. Yeah. And he goes, okay, well, put that down and pick up the other rocker, dumbass. And like, I was literally grabbing at straws, dude.
Yeah.
And that thing took me 2 years, and it was I wouldn't change a fucking thing about it. You know, at 2 years when I finally figured it out, I was like, I was really struggling with the clutch and the belt drive, because I had it was a, you know, 69 generator shovel has a different transmission shaft. It's 66 through 69 or 65 through 69 only, right? Someone's going to correct me, but you know, it's when the electric start happened. And so I had a panhead transmission with a short shaft. So every time I fired the thing up, it was, you know, rubbing. Yeah. And it literally, that took me like months upon months to figure out why shit wasn't lining up. And I didn't really have anyone. I had people to ask, but I didn't want to ask them. Yeah. You know, your pride is so real, because I had done so much. Yeah. And then once I figured it out, dude, it was game on. You know, there was like 3 bikes built in my garage over the next year and a half. Sick. I told myself in the beginning, all I need is my 54 Chevy pickup and my Harley, which would be my 69 chopper. Yeah. And I'm good. I'm a man. I'm I'm dialed. I'm done. And then I saw a panhead for $5,000. And then I saw a knucklehead that ran, which became a 4Q bike for $13,000. And then all hell broke loose. You know, it's the almighty dollar. Like, go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was going to say, how did you, what were you doing at the time to get the cash, the 13K together to?
That, so at that time I was still skating a lot and was getting paid to skate. And, you know, dudes now make hundreds of thousands of dollars skateboarding. There's still plenty of people that make $2,000 to $5,000 a month, you know, like the working class skater. Yep. He's not fucking Tony Hawk. He's not, I could name some other names that you wouldn't know that are fucking huge, right? Because the level's so amazing, and Nike's involved, and Vans is owned by, you know, there's big money in it. And so for me, if I were to make $5,000 in a month, I was fucking hyped.
Yeah,
And that's a lot of money. And I also always had a job. So at that time, I worked at a wood shop in the day, and I would skate in the evenings because I realized at a young age, if I skated all day, my body fell apart. So I just would skate in the evening, wake up, get paid working at the wood shop, but then still get a check from Vans or whoever I skated for. So, you know, there was some months I made $2,400, and there was other months I made $7,000. And I bought a house when I was young, and so I was paying that off. But then I met a lady back then who had her own money, and so she was helping out. So my nut wasn't big, and that's when I just started. Dude, you know, a Knucklehead motor now is like 20 fucking grand.
Yeah.
And I remember going to swap meet at the Cow Palace. It's a real famous old swap meet in San Francisco, and there was Knucklehead engines with the title, $6,000. Panhead engines with titles, 2,600 to $3,000. I remember that day I left there, I saw 5 Panhead motors. They were all $3,500 because one dude priced his at 35, and everyone's like, I guess they're 35.
Yeah.
If I had the time machine, I'd go back and buy them all.
Yeah, definitely.
But like I said, you know how it is. That I could even do that was a blessing, and I was very aware of it. And then, but I never had like just 10 grand hanging out.
Yeah.
So whenever I heard of something, it was, you know, hit up a friend, a close friend or a relative and say, hey, do you got $1,000? Do you got $1,000? Do you got $1,000? Give them that slip of paper and then get it back to them. But I did kind of see it coming and knew that I should grab some shit. And thank God that I did, because man, I go to swap meets now and I see what these dudes spend. And I guess some dudes show up with 30 grand, right? Because if there's a stock knuckle that's worth 70 and they want it, they're gonna buy it. That's not my jam. The way I grew up was pretty simple, and money was a big deal. And I'm not playing a fucking violin about this. It's not a sad song. It's just I'm still kind of a cheap bastard when it comes to things. Like, I want a 59 Impala bad. I would fucking love one. I can't spend the money on it, and I don't have the time to buy the clapped out one and work on it on the cold cement outside my house.
How much would that go for there? How much would you need to get one of them?
I mean, the lowest for one that wasn't a shit box, I would say 30. 30 grand, you know, but it's for one you would want, you know, and there, once again, pride. Like, what am I going to buy some dude's finished car?
Yeah. I know what you mean.
There goes Max in fucking Mike's
Dave's car. Yeah,
totally.
Yeah, nah, fuck that.
So you know, it's the dream would be to find like a shit box with that ran nice, and I could like do my paint and do the wheels and do the shit. But I got fuck, dude, it took me 10 years to paint my house. You know what I mean? Like, it's I'm painting right now. I can smell the fumes. I left a can open somewhere, but I spent 4 hours. I was listening on a Fleetwood Mac kick for some reason today. I go upstairs to tape off because the light's better and the record player's up there, and I'll just flip the same record over and over. And that's what I spent the morning doing, you know, taping off a tank. So when we hang up, I'll do another coat on that. And then like yesterday, I got to go into the city, San Francisco, to a bike show, because you got to have fun, right? You got to ride your fucking bike. So if it takes me 10 years to paint the house and do other shit around here, but I get to work and have fun,
man,
so be it.
So the shop is attached to the house, yeah?
Yep, I live above it, man. It's an old, it's like an old 1906 property, 1905. So it's a lot of upkeep, but the downstairs was like a grocer, and so I changed it up. And a guy used to have like his music studio down here, and so there's a good energy and possibly a ghost that is a happy ghost because some weird shit has happened, but it's always
Yeah.
happy, good
Yeah.
feeling. But yeah, it's cool, man. I mean, all the neighbors know me, and I'm courteous. You know,
Yep.
my one neighbors, it's great because they've always got an eye on the place. But like, if I know I'm gonna be up till 3, and I'm like have to start a bike, I'll give them a heads up,
Yeah.
and they're always like, "Thanks for the heads up."
Yeah, man.
All good,
Yeah,
right?
cool.
Because someone will think it's a fucking chainsaw or
Yeah,
someone
totally.
cutting down someone's door.
Yeah.
But and then the dude on the other side is kind of the gearhead, and it's actually pretty fucking ideal because when I split, I say boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
You guys shoot first, ask questions later,
Yeah.
and everyone understands. But it's so cool to have a. I've had a separate shop and a house, and even when they're within a few miles of each other, you get to the shop and you realize you forgot something at the house, or
Yeah.
the I listened to the Rick Rubin dude talk about creativity, and he said one thing is basically like when it's not working, walk away.
Yeah.
And I can go upstairs, get I would never get into my bed in the middle of the day because that'd be fucking weird and dangerous, especially fully dressed. But I can hop on top of the bed and open a book and read some cool shit and maybe have that idea, or like walk up the street, get a coffee, bullshit with a neighbor, get inspired.
Yeah, man.
Or you come back and it's not today.
Yeah.
It's not gonna fucking happen.
Yeah, sick.
So
I've done the same thing. I've done the
Yeah.
same thing recently. Yeah. So I live in this old brewery. So right now I'm in my private tattoo studio and I've got the screen printing shop. I've got my bikes, and then I live above, and it's oh man, yeah. We've been.
Is it a brick building?
It's sandstone. Like it's
Oh
fucking
wow.
old. Yeah.
So when was it built?
The last I don't know when this was built. I'll have to Google it, but the last house I lived in, where like we moved last month, that was 1869.
Fucking A.
Yeah. Just
it's funny
like you
because
say, it's a lot of upkeep.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I had a brick building and it was the fucking sexiest thing. I cried the first day I got it, and I cried when I fucking left. And I wasn't sobbing, but a tear or
Yeah,
two,
totally.
right?
Yeah.
Because it was so beautiful. Though every time there was an earthquake, I was doing the brick building in an earthquake.
Yeah.
But now I'm in a wood building. But it's funny because I would say with the brick building, it was about the same year as this to someone from Europe. Oh, I live in an old building. And then I would check myself and be like,
Yeah.
hold tight.
Yeah, man. My one of my American buddies, he was saying it's funny because American people think that 200 years ago is a long time, and British people think that 200 miles is far to travel.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's
That's
so
really
fucking
cool.
true. It's so true.
Yeah, dude. On Saturday I almost drove to a swap meet, which bunch of people drove to from the same distance, and it was 200 miles.
Yeah.
And I went, there's this fucking Rick Rubin other podcast I want to listen to, and my tires on my van are kind of bald, and I'm over it.
Yeah.
Because it's a 400-mile round trip. But I used to drive to LA all the time, and that's 400 miles.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
We do have that. I'm also in North California, so I'm a little isolated by choice. But if I want to go to Los Angeles, there's a highway that's it's like being at the grocery store. You just go for a reason. Or I can take the coast, and it takes twice the time, but you're along the ocean for a lot of it, and it's awesome. And like I said, I surf a little bit, so I got a chopper in the back of the van and a surfboard if I'm going to like an event down there, and if I'm not riding down there. And that's that. The ride down to Born Free was that way.
Yeah.
And that's why it took me 2 days, because brand new bike and, you know, almost 500 miles going that way,
Yeah.
I knew I would want to stop, check the bike out, have a beer, have a burger, fucking regroup and go from there. But that's, you know, to go up to the show I was just at in Portland, that's 10 hours, 500 and some miles,
Yeah.
you know.
Is that
My
where you were
buddy,
going when I messaged you?
yep,
Yeah.
yep,
Cool.
yep. Yeah, that was the one show. It's a pretty cool show. It's actually really cool. Amazing old, like, uh, building they built boats in, and
Cool.
then would crane them into the river. Then, you know, you could take it to the ocean.
Sick.
But bitch and building, not a competitive show. All types of bikes, even down to two-stroke dirt bikes, were in the thing, you
Cool.
know. But and some BMWs and some BMW choppers, and, you know, some shit you just, no, with no disrespect, you just, not my thing.
Yeah, yeah.
But then there was a nice chopper section, and, you know, like, I'm not an FXR guy, but I like FXRs. So, you know, you could stop by and see some wild shit that
Yeah.
people are doing on those, which I think is it's a pretty cool way to do a show.
Yeah.
But if there's just a chopper show, I'm cool with that too.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
You know,
I've just been offered a totally stock 100% original 85 FXR for $2,000. I don't know what here that's cheap as fuck. Like,
that's for $5,000.
$2,000.
Oh my God. Yeah. Go
Title, it runs, everything.
damn.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had several of them, because you'll see one for cheap, not that cheap, but cheap. And then you do some upgrades and sell it for a little more, or you have it for 5 years and you sell it for what you bought it for.
Yeah.
But they are incredible bikes. You know, they were kind of laughed at when they were made because it had some Japanese styling on the frame, you know, the triangle back there.
Yep.
And then people realized how fucking badass they were. And you had to eat.
Sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
They sold it as the best handling Harley of ever, didn't they, at the time or something?
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Totally. Sorry. And then, you know, people started figuring out little upgrades for them. And it's crazy, man. On a stock one, I've had my lady on the back and just pop the clutch and you're doing a wheelie.
Yeah.
And the thing doesn't leak a drop, and it's easy to maintain. You know, it's I think of it as like a, you know, like a Camaro or something, you know, like when cars started to like go fast and you could beat on them a little more. But my friend thinks they're more like a, what does he say? Toyota Corolla, you know, like just a workhorse, you know?
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially the stock ones. They're not so pretty.
Right.
Yeah.
And there are, you know, a couple upgrades really let them breathe and open them up. But yeah, man, you know, that's one thing, you know, here in America, it's like a Democrat or Republican, FXR guy, chopper guy, fucking four-wheel drive or drift car. It's really people, you know, they just try to like put people in a thing. And I did it too, you know, as a skateboarder. I was like, fuck BMXers, fuck rollerblades. And then when an adult showed up on a scooter, I was like, no, like this can't be happening.
Yeah.
And now I realize, like, these young kids, they'll skateboard and BMX and scooter all together. And it was totally bizarre to me.
An adult on a scooter is a weird thing.
Well, there's several people into choppers that were like professional scooterers. Right. And I just found that out. And I mean, honestly, I'm 50, you know, so like I've had to unfuck a lot of stuff in my brain.
Yeah.
And I met one kid at a swap meet and I asked him what his sweatshirt was. And he said, oh, it's a scooter company. And I looked at his gram and I was like, I don't know much about this, but looks like you're pretty good at it, you know?
Yeah.
And I go, you know what? Fuck it. If that makes you happy, all good. You know, it's the energy I use up, judging it or hating it,
Yeah.
it's not who I want to be.
Yeah,
You
totally.
know, just like anything, dude. I see a fucker, he still rides a unicycle down the street, and this is
Yeah.
real. And it,
Yeah. Yeah.
I know how to ride a unicycle. So because I at the wood shop, my boss could, and he said, "I bet you can't." And so at lunch break,
Yeah.
I'd be trying to ride, saying, "You got to squeeze your legs all weird, and I think you look like a fool on a
Yeah.
unicycle." Sorry to any unicycler, but I still see a dude cruise by on unicycle, and my knee jerk reaction is like, "This fucking dork on the." You know what? That dork isn't running a red light trying to fucking nail me,
Yeah, man.
pin me on my bike. He's not fucking doing a mass shooting. He's, like
Yeah, true. True.
that. And he's getting in shape. He's healthy,
Yeah.
like you're on a fucking unicycle. Good for
Yeah,
you.
man.
Please use that for the opening
Yeah, man.
clip.
Yeah, man. Yeah, no, I was saying something like I was saying, regards to like the do what makes you happy. I was saying it to a guy at the show that I just went to because he was talking about his bike and he's like, "Oh, I can't remember what he said, but he was saying I really wanted to go this route, but I went this route because it's what's popular right now." And I was like, do you like what you've done?" And he was like, "No, yeah, it's beautiful." I was like, "No, yeah, it is beautiful. Do you like it though? Like, how much have you spent?" And he's like, "Well, I've bought the bike for $5,000. I've put 11 grand in." And I was like, "And do you love it?"
Wow.
And he's like, "Well, I would have rather to go the other way." And I was like, "Man, you got that. You just do. That's what Chopper is. It's like build your
Absolutely.
bike that you love
Yep.
and fuck
Yep.
everyone else. Doesn't matter if
Yeah.
like in my opinion, that's
No, dude,
yeah,
that's a great thing to tell your viewers and for us to agree on because I, sometimes people will say to me like, "Oh, I knew it was your bike. This is the box you live in." And I'm like, "Well, it's kind of like a backhanded compliment,
yeah,
right?"
totally, yeah, yeah,
And then I built the orange bike, and it's like, "Oh, that's different,"
yeah,
and you're like, hey man, it's what I like.
yeah,
It's where I'm at in my life right now. You probably will not see me build a Bass Boat Metal Flake FXR, just like you wouldn't see me walk in here with long dickies and my socks pulled up into
yeah, man,
them.
yeah,
It's not who I am.
yeah,
And I throw no shade at that stuff. And if everyone built the bike that they thought was cool without influence by what was popular, I think the world would be a lot more interesting place.
yeah,
But I was influenced by where I'm from, and I saw the guy Jason Jesse's bikes in the very beginning, and they were tight, and it looked like he was sitting on an engine going down the street.
yeah, sick.
And I was like, man, that's a fucking cool look. And the more I learned about my area, the more I learned that was the look.
Yeah,
And
because it's practical as well, isn't it?
yeah,
Like, yeah,
the pegs are high and all that shit for a reason. I rode to the show in the city last night. I rode home with a kid. He's 26 years old, man. Steve, young Mexican kid from the bad side of town, and he painted his own tank, and he just blew it. If anyone knows those Sportsters, the Evo ones, they blow the lifter and they make a shit
yeah,
ton of noise, right? And so he thought he blew his engine up or threw a rod or whatever, and he's sending me the clips of him fixing it. He gets it together, and we rode home to the city together. He took a little video, man, of us riding home and how the bike looked that I was on. I was like, that belongs under me.
yeah,
That's my bike.
yeah, totally.
That bike's for sale. And I
Yeah,
had that moment where I was like, motherfucker, it's gonna hurt
yeah,
just from seeing that. And I looked at him. He's 24, 27. He's so fucking young. And I go, he's on that Sportster. And I go, and that's the bike he's supposed to be on
yeah,
at this moment.
yeah,
And hopefully some OG out where he lives someday will see him and go, I have an old pan and it
yeah.
hasn't ran in 40 years. And for $6,000, it's yours.
That's the
Because
shit I
that's
love.
same, dude.
Yeah,
there's a in America right now, there's a big grab. You know, it's more popular to be at a swap meet and buy and sell parts than it is to show up somewhere on the bike you built.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And I want, you know, like that's, I don't, I buy shit because I build bikes,
Yeah.
right? I need an inventory to start my project. So if someone comes here, I say, hey, man, I got this pan frame and I've got this pan shovel motor, and what do you like? Okay, hopefully I have it, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes I send the customer on a little buying spree, find this or find that, because that's cool to include them in the process. And then they see how much shit really costs. But I find it really bizarre that there's these fucking dudes that I know that they don't build bikes. They're just there because they've heard that if you find a panhead for this much, they can sell it for this much. I've said
on
it,
Instagram. Yeah.
dude, it's a sport. It's a fucking sport. And it'd be like if we went out hunting elk and we just left the elk there or something, you know, like you took the photo, oh, fucking, I got a fucking 12-point buck or whatever. And you're like, the fuck was, eat that meat, man, drag it out of there.
Yeah.
And you know, the problem with it is I'm someone that has promoted this lifestyle, and I put myself out there because I enjoy this and I love it, and I want to show people my art. If I did ceramics, I'd be the same way. With that being said, and I'm not taking any credit for anything, but like people get influenced and they start to do it. Yeah. If they see someone, I'm an asshole at times and I'm uptight and I'm a control freak, but I like my life.
Yeah.
And I know exactly where I would love to be 10 to 20 years from now. It's pretty fucking simple.
Yeah.
So it's rare as a man to know that, right? We see a lot of locked people. Yeah. They were into fixed gears and then they were into choppers and then now they're cowboys. That's like a thing here, straight up, you know?
Yeah, man. Yeah, totally. The fucking Yellowstone.
That's what happened. That's what happened. And they're going to sell their panhead to ride horses. And do you, right? Yeah. But that is not me. And I know some people look at me and they go, oh man, he knows what he likes.
Yeah.
He knows what he's into. And I find that attractive and I want to do that.
Yeah.
So then there's less shit for me at the swap meet now.
Yeah. Man.
Right. But that's just the way it is. You know, the fucking Wassel tank or whatever, you know, you bought them for $10 or $20 and now they're worth 300 to 500. And it's dorky. Oh, does it have the made in England stamp? Does it have this cap? Does it fucking dance in a circle? And once you answer those questions, then you have this $800 tank. And I can sell it, right?
Yeah.
But I don't, because I think I need it for the next 20 years with the way this shit is going.
Yeah.
But I've been waiting for it to fall off. It's 21 years, 22 years I've been doing this, and I thought it peaked in 2015. I would have told you it's going to go down. And then, you know what I really think happened is hot chicks started showing up at shows, and a bunch of dudes that were into a bunch of different shit, their Dodge Cummins diesel truck and whatever the else the fuck they were into drifting, went, whoa, those guys look pretty cool on their bikes. And there's a lot of hot chicks there. Yeah. And then you have hot chicks riding bikes.
That's what I was about to say. Yeah. Now they're turning up and they've ridden like 500 miles to get there. And there's something beautiful about that. You know that.
Fuck yeah, dude. Yeah. You know, I hear like trash talking on women and choppers. You know, there's a woman building a bike for this show and she doesn't know what the fuck she's doing. Her boyfriend built the bike or whatever. That might be true, but you know, I come from skateboarding, and my mom skateboarded with me, and because she thought it was cool, and
Yeah.
she was young. And when I was 10, you know, she was 32 or something. So she's gonna try it. She's a
Yeah.
cool ass mom. She took me to punk shows and all that.
Yeah.
But being a female at a punk show or being a female skating, I saw how people treated her. And now, if you're a female skateboarder, it's a big thing. You're
Yeah.
fucking welcomed with open arms. And if you don't, my friend Alyssa, who's a female pro skater, if you don't treat her right or welcome her, you're gonna get knocked out by somebody.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So the level of female skateboarders is incredible right now, because finally we turned our bullshit down and are
Yeah.
welcoming them. And I know for a fact soon there's going to be a woman that shows up that isn't so fucking full of herself or with all this shit to prove. That's
Yeah.
just like, oh no, my dad or my mom or whoever, my uncle is into bikes, and I know this shit forward to back.
Yeah, man.
And this is mine.
Yeah.
It's sad that sometimes I see people really trying to have to prove themselves because they're the outcast.
Yeah.
And I can't wait till it's just like, you know, it's everyone, man. Everyone's it's a chopper.
Yeah,
It's
man.
fun. Express yourself.
Yeah.
Ride the fuck out of it. You know, it's like to give you an example of how weird our scene is. When I rode my bike to Born Free, it was a big deal to me. That was my experience.
Yeah.
And it was absolutely perfect. Those were two of my happiest days of the last 5 years. It was super fucking emotional in the coolest way. And some people said, "Oh man, you're one of the first people to ride a longer distance to Born Free." And it's not even technically that long, but long enough for a lot of shit to go down. And I go, "Yeah, man." And they said, "Man, these other fucking," I have to watch my mouth, right? "These other fools, they trailered their shit here and blah, blah, blah." And I go, "Yeah, man, it's a bike show.
Yeah.
They want to keep their shit clean."
Yeah.
I wiped mine down like crazy. So what I'm saying is people instantly wanted to like talk shit to me about the other guy. It's like, it's not what it's about.
Yeah.
I knew I wasn't going to win the show because the level of some of these people is so outrageous. And they're building shit that's so outrageous. And yeah, maybe it's not really rideable, but it's a show bike.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not called, you know what I mean? Like,
Totally.
why?
Yeah.
You mind if I open the door for my dog real quick?
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
Sorry, dude. You know, that it's like we were saying earlier, like the guy on the scooter or the whatever, like talking shit is low hanging fruit.
Yeah, man.
It's easy, right? It's easy. It's so much harder to say something awesome to someone, right? You have a fucking tattooed face, dude.
Yeah.
I know. You turn the corner and someone goes, "What, did that guy fall asleep at a party?" You know, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Right? But every once in a while, you probably have some little old lady or someone that surprises you that says something fucking cool to you.
Yeah, totally.
And you go, "Hey, thanks for seeing me as me," right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's like this fucking thing, man. Like, if you're getting rich doing this, God bless you. Right? If you're getting rich doing a podcast or building a fucking chopper, good for you.
Yeah. Man.
Right? I'm not.
Yeah.
You know, I like it enough that I will drive around with bald tires on my van for a while.
Yeah, man.
You know?
Quick shout out to this episode sponsor, Chop City Customs. Head over to Instagram right now. Follow them at chopcity_customs. I'm not joking. I am passionate about this saddlebag that they've sent me. It is the most durable, hard-wearing saddlebag I think I've ever seen. From the material to the fucking hardware. And not only is it fucking great quality, but it looks sick. 5, 10, 15 years of this thing strapped to your fucking hardtail or your sissy bar. It is only gonna get better with age. Breathing in that fucking crust and that character only gonna look better in time to come, which that's exactly what I look for in a saddlebag, a tool roll. Speaking of fucking tool rolls, this thing has a fucking tool roll built in. It holds 3 liters. It holds your fucking gas can. Honest to God, yeah, I fucking love this thing. Discount code right now on screen. These guys ship worldwide for free. There is no excuse not to have one of these things. Head over to the website right now. Make sure you get one ordered. Thank you so much for watching. Like, subscribe, comment below. Ride choppers are fucking die.
And or have to pass on some pretty bitchin' shit sometimes, right? And there is a way for me to make more money at this. When I lay down in the coffin on my last day, that's not who I want to be.
Yeah, man.
It's
not worth selling out.
No, there's a hustle and there's a way to get big money for bad shit or maybe good shit, but like unless it's an emergency, unless something's wrong with my lady, my mom, someone in my family, I'm not going for the quick cash grab. I would like to give someone a bike and go, hey man, I built this for you with love, and it took way too long. And it looks just like that guy's bike.
Yeah, man.
But I built this for you.
Yeah.
You know, and hopefully when you really look at it, you can see the love that went into it.
Yeah, man.
It's at one point I felt like I was the only dude painting trippy shit.
Yeah.
And trust me, man, I fire up the Instagram machine and I look sometimes and I think sometimes I'm like, oh man, I painted that. And I click it and I go, oh, that's not my paint job. I should be flattered.
Yeah.
And I've turned it to that for the most part, aside from one guy
straight ripping it off. Yeah.
Exact. It's on eBay right now. It's the exact paint job.
Yeah.
And I went, well, that sucks. And I sent him a message. He said, hey, dude, you know, someone asks you for a piece of your art and you charge them and you give them something special that's one of a kind. And then you come along and do the exact fucking thing. Yeah, it's just disrespectful.
Totally.
But I chalked it up as like a cultural difference, you know?
I mean, it happens a lot. You know, I see it. I know, like McCaig, his stuff's ripped off all the time.
Oh yeah.
Like, you know, it's just any tattoo is just like, all right, and then they just, you know, and then they'll fucking lacquer it and then they sell it like some fucking one-off piece, and you're like, oh.
Yeah, I mean the tattoo thing, it's funny because man, I forget, you're a tattooer, right?
Yeah.
So you have traditional tattooing.
Yeah. Sorry, that was actually the first place that I saw you. It was on Tattoo Age on Freddie Corbin's.
Freddie Corbin's thing. Yeah, that was cool, man. I haven't talked to him for a minute, but I love Freddie. He's such a unique character. But that you know, traditional.
Yep.
It's so weird because you show the layman a traditional eagle, 2 traditional eagles. One guy's been doing it for 40 years and one guy's been doing it for 3 years, and he learned to tattoo from YouTube.
Yep.
A lot of people will pick this guy's because there's something new and clean and perfect about it. But this guy's is the shit, right? Yeah.
The magic is in that one.
It's almost unexplainable. You can see it. I might be able to see it.
Yeah.
But you know, the 22-year-old kid that's into everything, he can't see it. And I guess that's like a good example of what's happening in the, you know, that it can happen in the chopper thing. You know, like I still love a shiny chrome bike, you know, like you know, my orange bike is shiny and it's chromed. And if it was patinaed, Survivor, you know, it might be cooler.
Yeah.
Fuck off. I don't, you know, I've built patinaed bikes. I'm building one now. Not purposely trying to use cool old shit, but it's funny that you could build something real fast with cool old shit and probably sell it faster right now. than the one you put heart and soul and chromed and finished and did everything on.
Yeah.
It's
That's the
just
same
one
as
of those.
tattooing.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can put all your effort and energy into this thing, and you know it's like that's the coolest thing ever, and get like nothing, no recognition whatsoever, or whatever. And then you'll do like a Pinterest tattoo, which will take 10 minutes.
Yeah.
100,000 fucking
Yeah.
It's ridiculous, but
It's really
is what it is.
It is, dude. I think it is what it is the thing I say the most right now. It's like you go, you know what? Is it there? It's like the female skateboarding thing. These dudes were threatened by it. And I said to the one dude, I go, hey man, the person buying her skateboard would have never bought your skateboard.
Yeah, totally.
You're not losing you're not losing your customer. You're just that woman that bought her skateboard, or that dude that bought her skateboard probably quit years ago and was like, how much I want to, they relate to her.
Yeah.
Not you.
Yeah.
So it doesn't, that's the thing. I did another podcast like a month or so ago, and the guy doing the podcast said the coolest thing. He said, high tides float all the ships. Like if something becomes popular and you're the guy fighting it, you know what? Like most likely everyone's going to float from that thing.
Yeah.
So enjoy it when the tide's up. Keep your head down, do your shit. Yeah. I thought it was so cool. I'd probably heard it and never thought about it. But when I really heard it that day and was like, yeah, that's the truth,
Like you say, it's just that low hanging fruit though, isn't it? It's just so much easier to just shit on something. Like I can't remember who she was, but I seen a girl on my Instagram. She's a skater. She was a girl skating, and she came up on my story, and I just DM'd her, and I was like, "This is sick, like fucking awesome," She hit me back, and she was like, "Shit, thanks so much. I saw your Instagram came up, and I thought you were gonna give me shit." And I was like, what? And I thought, fuck, is that how I come across? And she was like, no, it's just because you're a guy. It's because I know you're a guy. And, I thought instantly like, oh, he's either going to be sending me a creepy message or being a dick.
For sure.
Which is sad. It's a sad.
It is sad. Yeah. It is sad. It's funny because if you would have taken the time back in the day to write her a letter, I bet when people received letters back in the day, there was much more positive ones, right? Yeah. Like, I know there were shitty ones too, but it's so easy to go bump, bump, bump.
Yeah.
Fuck you. Some shit talking, right? It's instant. I mean, hey, dude, I've had memes made about me. I've had people talk shit. It used to affect me, and now it's just kind of funny. Insecurity, it breeds, it makes this fucking poison grow inside of you. I went to the second high school I went to, dude tried to steal my shoes the first day. I'd get bumped, shoulder checked all the time in the hallway. And the first high school I went to was primarily white and was like jocks, and they were fucking with me. And then I get to a high school with, more like gangster kids, and they would test you. And if you stood up for yourself, you were good. Yeah. But actually at the white high school, the jock dudes would just fuck with you forever. And it was a different thing. And that's just my experience. Someone had the opposite experience. But all those fucking hard things, you realize there's a lot of soft kids right now. And they're raised on their telephone, and their parents bottle of wine. They're not winos, but they need their 3 glasses of wine because they had a hard day. Yeah. And they give the kid the screen. That's on you.
I just played a board game with my kids today. You know what I mean? Like a fucking board game. You know what I mean? We sat there for an hour. I'm feeling like shit, but I'm like, I would rather be doing this and making a fucking memory than here, iPad, fuck off. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. It's funny because they're gonna try to take our vehicles from us. eventually.
Yeah.
They're
It's one of your videos. You say it's still legal for now. And
yeah.
that's always stuck with me. I'm like, shit, yeah, no, that's a good point.
Well, dude, see, I live in a really liberal place.
Mm.
I live in Oakland, right next to Berkeley, and Berkeley is like next level liberal. San Francisco is pretty liberal. It's very liberal. But Oakland was always had a rough aspect to it that kind of kept things real. But if you had to protest back in the day, you had to go down to City Hall or somewhere and face the consequences.
Yeah.
Well, now you can get on this app next door and you can talk shit about your neighbor and his views and get away with it.
Yeah.
So I went down the electric car rabbit hole on the lithium batteries and where lithium is mined and how the people are treated that's slavery. That's slavery.
Yep.
That's slavery.
Yep.
Okay. And that's not the answer. But like we got the pipeline up in Alaska and that's US territory.
Mm-hmm.
And people were complaining about it. And I said, hey man, this is our country. That's our oil.
Yep.
And we drive cars. So
Yep.
why don't we build that thing correctly so there's never a fucking accident and be prepared for the accident and do it the right way? Rather than have to go to war or be at peace or fucking lie to some other country to use their fucking shit, you know? And there's
Fucking
someone
right.
on here that knows a lot more about this than I do, but when I'm taking heat on my motorcycles, what do our bikes get, 25, 30 miles a gallon? I know I go 70 miles on a tiny ass tank, so a little bit more. We're not the problem.
No.
Our choppers are not the problem.
No.
Our old vehicles are not the problem. People, buying shit on Amazon that comes on a fucking boat that gets, goes 8 feet on 800 gallons of crude oil. I think that's a fucking problem.
Totally.
I believe in investing in our country.
Yeah.
And that's why, unfortunately for you, where you are, I have an American made, union made, if I can, t-shirt.
Yeah.
And that fucker cost me, instead of $6, $15 to $18. So then I have to sell that shirt for $30.
Yep.
And every time I do, someone complains.
Yeah,
and I go, hey man, right there at that fucking booth, right there. Oh, and you know what? The next booth and the next booth and the next booth, they paid $6 for their shirt.
Yeah.
And they sell it for $25. So go buy their fucking shirt.
Yeah, man.
And that it's just that easy. I've seen people start to promote USA made shirt. It's like, hey, what took you so long? Because now it's marketable. Yeah. But when it was morally correct, you didn't do it.
Nah.
Because you
now
were
it's cool.
You wanted that extra $5. I just made a few hundred hats, and this kid Sam O'Reilly, I don't know if he listens to podcasts, but he saw my struggle. I said, man, I can't get them made in the US, and if I can, they were silly little hats or not what I wanted. And he hit me up and he goes, hey dude, I know a place. I'll drive there tomorrow. Send me your sample. I thought he was trying to get a free hat from me, my last one. And then he asked me for money. And I was like, man, this guy's a good Irish scammer, Sam O'Reilly. And sure enough, dude, he was fucking legit as fuck. And he found me the American made hat. And it's more money, but it's awesome. And it has our flag in it. And I know he could go to the factory and watch it be made, just like the White's Boots thing. It's one of the main reasons I do it. It's made here. But like, if you want to change the world, and dude, listen, I order V-twin parts when I have to. My shit it stinks still. It's not perfect. Yeah. But like, it's so much easy. It is pretty easy to just, if we all stuck together and said, no more fucking imported trash.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Cool.
Yeah. That's where I'm going right now with the podcast merch. That's why I've just bought a screen printing company, so then we can do it.
Awesome.
We can do it ourselves, and we're like right now we're just trying to source some British made,
Yeah.
items. But
I
it's
imagine that's
I'm
pretty difficult.
yeah, it's with the
Yeah.
fucking tiniest island ever. But
Right.
I mean, I found a company, a New Zealand company, a
Oh, cool.
Kiwi company, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not. It's dearer, and but it's really good quality, and I just feel like it's better than getting the fucking cheap shit from China.
Well, also say it's from New Zealand or here or somewhere, like, do they treat their people right?
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
That's it. Yeah,
that's just the thing. It's like if I knew my V twin primary that fucking fit like shit was
yeah,
made by a happy person that liked their job.
yeah, man.
All right, fucking cool. But we got Paco right up in Reno,
Yeah,
and they stamped the primary and pipes and that shit. And you get it, and it's fucking heavier.
yeah,
You know, it is one cool thing about the bikes is we really are cutting out pinholes of rust to put something back into the game.
yeah.
And for a while there, with like the wide tire craziness that was happening, I think it was another cash grab, and it
Totally.
didn't really matter how it was made or where it was made. It was the new look. And,
Yeah,
honestly, dude, some of the shit we work with from the 30s and 40s, like there's still meat on that bone,
yeah,
and
yeah,
that frame that's fucking roached, like you could put it back together and you can buy the castings from this guy, Jason Sheets, and it keeps his family fed and it's
yeah,
quality shit. That's cool as fuck.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Now I'm all about. I've had. I think it was the second guest I had on. He's actually passed away now. Young guy, cool as fuck, Glenn, and we were having the conversation, and I was saying like I feel like a little bit of a fraud because I'm not a builder or I'm not and he was like, nah, man, we're here for we just need to support those people. You know what I mean? Like that's our job. That's how we give back. We support the guys that are making these little parts and all that shit.
Dude, it's like music, like, we love music. We all do it.
Yeah.
Fucking it's different in the coolest way. And on
Yeah.
a Monday you listen to this and Tuesday you listen to that. But it's a huge scene, right?
Yeah.
And if you're into something, someone else is into it. And our
Yeah.
chopper thing, I think everyone thinks it's a little bit bigger than it is. Like
Yeah.
I said, they think, there is V Twin, and then you have people like Prism that make a ton of products and they make a good product. And you have Pangea, Anthony Pangea, that makes a ton of stuff. And it dwindles down pretty fast from the people making a ton of shit to the people making little
Yeah.
stuff. Like I paint and I make a kicker pedal, right? And
Yeah.
I have my shirts and shit. Um, I know I could have way more products and have this, hey, there's my employees back there, right? It's a fucking weird balance.
Yeah.
But the thing that I do love about it is when I sold my first batch of t-shirts, man, I was sending them all over the world.
Yeah.
And I couldn't fucking believe it. I still write my little note with each one to the person, right?
Yeah. Sick.
And a friend said I'd never do it, and I do it, and I still do it. But if you're good to people, they'll be good to you, and they'll support your thing. Like I mentioned, Ian Mackay from Minor Threat. Like the morals on that man to still answer the phones at his company,
Yeah.
still write a handwritten letter back to you if you write him one. That's fucking cool.
Yeah.
That's inspiring. But how many people do you know that would take the more lucrative, easier way?
Yeah. It's the majority. Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's last night riding back from the city from San Francisco. It's 12 miles away, but it can take you an hour in a car.
Right.
And it can take you 20 minutes on a bike, and it's beautiful. And last night I'm riding home with that young kid, and he's on a Sportster, and there's no traffic.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at the sun going down. I'm looking at San Francisco over my left, and we're on the underside of the bridge. So it's like really neat looking. I look at the kid and I'm like, fucking bitchin' moment, priceless.
Yeah, man.
Priceless fucking moment, you know, on something I built. And the light was hitting the tank and doing some trippy thing I'd never seen before. And I'm trying to pull out, I'm thinking about pulling out my phone. And I go, you know what? Fuck it. Take the mind picture.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, it's fucking empty on the bridge. It's fucking empty. This is a trip. And I realized there was a Lakers game on.
Right.
A basketball game.
Yeah.
And everyone's in their house or at a bar, or, you know, everyone's watching the game.
Yeah.
And I don't watch any game where a ball goes into a hole.
Same.
Okay.
Same.
I do watch, I do listen to baseball on the radio, and I do go to a baseball game every once in a while because I like that it's slow. I like to fucking go with my dad and, you know, shout at the other team. That's a couple times a year. But I go, man, they're fucking missing out.
Yeah.
You know, this is, and I'm not judging. I'm trying not to at least. But I go, what a fucking trip that, you know, that little box with that guy they don't know.
Yeah.
They're gone. I go to the grocery store when the ball game, when the big basketball game's on or the big football game, go to the grocery store, no one's there. You know, I drive around town, fucking no one's out. And then when it's off, it's everyone's back.
Yeah, man.
And then they talk about it like they know the people, and it trips me the fuck out.
Me too. Same.
Yeah.
And over here they're punching fuck out of each other over this stuff. You know, like the soccer hooligan, like, well, football hooligans, soccer hooligans to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. That, and they fucking care about this shit. You know, like they talk more passionately about this stuff than they do about their fucking wife and kids. You know what I mean? It's crazy to me.
Yeah, and it's like, hey, that's cool. You're into something. But like, I always crack up when there's like some fucking dude that, you know, couldn't throw you the ball from 10 feet away. And he's saying, LeBron James or whatever, he's lost his game. He's piece of shit. And you're like, hey, bro, he doesn't fucking watch you at work and tell you you're punching the keyboard wrong, you know?
Yeah,
like,
totally. Yeah.
But it's, you know, fuck, man, I'm into it. I hope sports become more popular because I'm gonna go surf and ride my motorcycle and drive my fucking old truck and pretend it's, you know, 40 years ago.
Yeah, totally.
That's what this ride of life is all about. It's, how old are you?
33.
33. That's a killer age, man. It's if you get to be 50, 33 to 50, it goes like that.
Yeah.
I can remember 33 like it was yesterday, and there was so much good times and some really, like, I lost a lot of people I loved in that time.
Yeah. And
I believe we do come back to this planet somehow, like, right? But I know for a fucking fact, well, I don't know for a fact, but I'm pretty damn sure that this is the only trip in this body, in this vessel, in this time. You might come back at 1933. You might, you know, you might be a jet pilot or some shit. I don't know. I don't know that, you know, because I've seen these kids that are 4-year-olds that know all this shit. They were some person and they tell this whole story and they have this whole fucking download. Yeah. And those TV shows trip me the fuck out. And I actually believe them that their conscious got transferred into something else. And then the new memories of being the new person they are wipe out the old ones. But there's some glitch right there. But as far as this ride right now, you got to make the best of it.
Totally.
We've all got that super downer friend. If I just had a lady, or if I just had a fucking this, or I just had a that, you know, if you're not if you don't have some crazy mental illness or you're, didn't have a terrible accident and you are able-bodied, it's a fucking blessing.
Get the
I'm
fuck
not,
out there.
yeah, man. And I know some really unique introverted people that barely ever leave their house, but they're not unhappy. They're fountains of music knowledge or literature or all kinds of shit, ceramics, and they're fucking happy and they figured it out. And with our friends that can't fucking figure it out, man, it's like, get the fuck out of your way. And realize that it's right now. This is happening. I was with a dude recently. He told me he had like, I don't know, man, he's worth $11 million. He's got all these motorcycle parts and this property, and I helped push the dude's bike into his truck. Didn't say thanks. He couldn't start his bike. He's a wrench, but his kill switch was stuck. And I pointed it out, and bike fired up. No thanks. No nothing. Transported his bike for him an hour. No nothing. But he was quick to tell me, real quick to tell me, you see that bike? I got that from this old guy for fucking $3,000. It's worth. And I left there and I go, man, I would rather ride a fucking Vespa around town than fucking be that dude, that miserable fuck that's worth this much money.
Yeah, man.
But to counterbalance that, I'd rather be fucking me with some cool fucking bikes, with a fucking lovely woman and a fucking killer dog. And I feel like I'm liked by more than I'm hated. There is some hate out there, and I'd like to change that, but like, this is it. It's right fucking now. And it's why sometimes, hey man, your paint job was a week late because I went to the motorcycle show yesterday, and then my friend broke down and I helped him. And your shit's late. I'm sorry. I was living my life.
Is that what you get hate for?
No, I would get some hate for being like, say for doing the whites boots thing, or
why? What?
Well, because someone else doesn't. Someone else that builds bikes or something doesn't get that, and someone's jealous or something. Maybe because I wear Levi's and a t-shirt, right? I don't wear Crocs or what do you guys call sweatsuits? I love it. Jumpers, or what do you call it?
Oh, like sweatsuit, like joggers, like
joggers,
trackies.
Tracksuit. I don't make fun of the way you dress, but like, I do like to fucking, maybe I look like I'm from 1965. I think it was an amazing time in America. But that's how I think a man should look.
Yeah, totally.
I think I said this on another podcast, but nothing in life is fair. It's not, man. I'm 5. I say I'm 5'9". I'm 5'8.5". Right. I'm 160 pounds. I went for a run this morning. I take care of myself. I eat healthy because I know this is my vessel. I know people that wish they had. I used to know a dude, he committed suicide, and I know it had everything to do with, he was a fucking 340-pound black man that was 6'8", and he couldn't do the things that I got to do. Right? That's not fair, right? But life is not fair. And so that being said, the chopper scene, I had my blog and I built cool shit, and people came to photograph it, and I seen you had Jesse James on your podcast. I went, whoa, fuck. That's way up there, man. Now you got to get Paul Senior.
If you just fucking answer his DM.
But dude, I get a certain amount of attention, and when I get to build something, a lot of people get to see it, and I'm fucking thank you. Thanks to anyone that's ever helped me on that path. But I'm also not a fucking idiot, and I've tried to present myself as a real person in a realistic way. And this is what I love to do. I do what I love. There's people that hate on that.
Yeah.
And there's a dude, he's building a bike for Born Free, and I mentioned him. His name's Scotty, and his company is Junior's Handmade. Bro, he's so much more talented than I am, and he's got a much smaller following.
Yeah.
That's not fair, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm aware of that.
Yeah.
The only thing I can do is say what I just said, so more people look at his shit. And I wouldn't have said that 10 years ago, because my ego would have been more selfish and got in the way.
Yeah.
But this dude gets fucking down, you know, and someone probably thinks he's a fucking clown and he's doing what this person did, or he learned it from that guy. It's like I said before.
Yep.
Everyone's so ready to throw shade.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm lucky because I read books and I educate myself and I listen to good fucking music, shit that I like.
Yeah.
And you know what? Other people like it. When I make a playlist or something, people fucking dig it.
Yeah.
I just do what I like to do. And if it sticks to the wall, cool.
Yeah.
If you don't like it, go like somebody else. Go look up to someone else. I look up to tons of people, man. I tell those people how I feel about them.
Yeah.
I'm also a complete fucking hermit. You know, I'm in this. There's days where I barely leave my spot.
Yeah.
Sometimes I get a lot of shit done. Sometimes I don't. I got a lady, first lady I've ever been with, that takes me for who I am and does not change me. She might say, dude, it's very rare.
I've got the same. Yeah.
It's very rare. And she will say, why are you being such an asshole? Or why are you fucking, I know this person is driving like shit in front of you, but get off the fucking horn.
Yeah.
You know, like what's the point of all your anger right now?
Yeah.
And I go, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Right. I'm trying, dude. I will try to improve till the end. But my ego at one point with this chopper thing, I left planet Earth for a second. I've seen it happen to other friends.
But you blew up. You blew up.
Yeah.
It's fucking.
It was too much, too fast. Yeah. And in skating, I had to work so fucking hard, dude. It's so competitive and it's so difficult. And all of a sudden, Vans came to me and said, wow, man, this 4Q thing is cool. Let's do a shoe. Yeah. What? As the skater in me was like, I've arrived.
Yeah, of course. Know? Yeah.
Dude, I came back down to earth and I went, man, the fuck, it's motorcycles. Yeah. You know, it's a tool for self-expression and a tool for freedom. And it's just like when I was a little kid and I found my skateboard. Get out of the neighborhood, you know, hurt yourself, brush yourself off, get back up. But like, people will say, this guy wrote me a while back and he builds a cool bike. And we kind of, you know, we're all right. And he goes, something in closing to this, whatever we were talking about, he goes, no one is special. Meaning like no one deserves special treatment. And I didn't want to get back and forth with him on this message, but I truly believe some people are special.
Yeah.
I believe some people like Joe Strummer or Nina Simone or, you know, Jimi Hendrix, there's just certain people that were touched. Yeah. And they have a gift and they know how to fucking show their gift. And I think when he said no one's special, he's one of these people that probably should be more popular than he is, and he isn't, and he's got a chip on his shoulder about it. Yeah. And so if he tells himself no one's special, I'm in the trenches, right? Yeah. But there are, man, there's exceptions. And like I said, if you're doing this and you're feeding your family and you're paying your bills,
fucking right.
cool.
Yeah,
You know, this thing you're doing, it's popular, and I've thought about doing one just like
yeah.
everyone, man. But I think there's so many cool ones out there that do not get enough attention. Like, I'll be real honest, dude. I looked
Yeah,
at your views, the Jesse James one,
yeah, yeah.
and this was really cool. Let's just make up a number. Let's just say 1,000, right? Let's just say 1,000 views is the norm. And I thought when I saw Jesse James's, it was going to say 33,000. It doesn't.
No.
There's more,
Yeah, yeah.
but there's actually not that much more in the grand scheme of
Yeah, yeah,
things.
yeah, yeah.
And I go, man, that's fucking cool,
Yeah.
because that means that the people that come to your podcast, they like what you're doing,
Yeah.
and they are here for you,
Yeah.
not for some, crack cocaine, some quick hit,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, totally.
And that's, like, there's other chopper dudes with 100 and some thousand followers. That's 40,000 or whatever the fuck it is more than me. And I go, oh man, shucks,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I know the people that come for my shit, they like me.
They're there for
I
you.
get an unfollow. I get an unfollow every day.
Yeah,
Every
yeah.
day, right? Oh man, I'm
Yeah.
at whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
And then it goes back down.
Yeah.
Because I'm not this enough or that enough or whatever.
Yeah.
Who fucking cares, dude?
Yeah. Yeah,
Who
totally.
fucking cares?
Yeah.
You have I like that thing that someone said. They go, whenever I have a barbecue, I say, hey man, I'm moving a couch today. I need your help. They send a text to all their folks, all their people. Hey man, I got to move this couch around noon today. Can you help me? And whoever shows up, the fucking dude's barbecuing.
Yeah.
And he's like, have a beer, have a burger. What about the couch? No, I didn't need the couch. I just wanted my real friends to be there.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
That's
I've
how
never
I
heard
feel.
that. I've never heard that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's totally it.
You
Yeah.
tell someone you're moving, or tell someone you need some help, you need a
Yeah.
ride or whatever. And that's kind of how it is. I've woken up at 3 a.m. to help someone broken down somewhere, and you go, man, fuck.
Yeah.
So you're
Yeah.
trying, fuck. And then you see them, and they're on the curb going through their phone, fucking bummed,
Yeah.
their shit's
Yeah.
broken down, and you wheel your shit in, and so what happened? And you hear about the story, and you go, man, you sure are fucking lucky I came and saved your ass. And we've all been on the other end of that.
Yeah,
And
totally.
you have a fucking cool conversation on the way home, and
Yeah.
big smile, big smile. You
Yeah.
get back in bed and you can't sleep because your head's spinning from the gasoline fumes because the guy forgot to turn his petcock off.
Yeah.
And you have a fucking laugh about it,
Yeah, I've been there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got one last
Yeah.
thing I want to ask you about, if you don't mind, just before we finish. The guy that you posted on your story the other day.
With the kid. So when my mom, when I was 15, moved to this all black neighborhood, and she was paying rent in San Francisco, and for a small spot, she heard about this place to have a big spot. And her friend lived next door. It's an old ironworks building. They made all the manhole covers for Oakland, and it's huge, right? And as industry started closing here, these spaces, huge spaces, were opening up for like $800 a month. And so she thought, man, that'd be cool, have all this space. And she wanted to get out of San Francisco and this busy corner that she was living on. And what came with that neighborhood was us getting bottles thrown at our house throughout the night, and kill Whitey, and
Yeah.
all that kind of shit. Pretty rapidly, she became cool with the neighbors, and they kind of saw that it was just some fucking weird white folks living in a non-traditional home. And we saw some things that I know no other white man has seen before. And I say that in like a trippy way, man. Like, I've had guns pointed to my head and shit. And it's why when I said how I dress,
Yeah.
that I couldn't be real flamboyant and skate through my neighborhood. In fact, if I looked fucking crazier, I probably would have got my ass beat daily. I just wanted to blend in.
Yep.
We had a house across the street from us, and the woman was a prostitute. There was like we call it like a hose stroll, like where the hoes are, right?
Yeah.
It was down from our house, and this woman would get a John to pick her up, take her there, and she had several kids. And there was several people addicted to crack in the house, and you would see a kid out in a fucking diaper just in the dirt, you know. And that woman, to tell you the truth, man, probably had a third grade education, and she did what she had to do. I still know her. Somehow I still know that woman. She's still alive. She's fucking one of the most entertaining, hilarious people I've ever met. And she had these boys, and that boy was one of them. And one day I saw him get hit by a car in a diaper and bounce.
That guy?
That kid.
Yeah, fuck.
Bounced, rolled, fucking picked him up. I don't even think he cried.
Fuck.
And my mom and her dude at the time go, man, we got to just do a little bit more.
Yeah.
So I'd come home from school and I'd check on him, and that was the beginning of a 15-year relationship with him. And at 15, 16, he moved in with me, and I had some rules. You got to be home by 10, 9, whatever it was. You got to go to school. He had like a fucking second grade education in 8th grade because the Oakland schools are shit. And fuck you to anyone that disagrees with me. Yeah. Because they'll just pass a kid to get them out of their hair. You know, I know there's a good school. I know there's a good teacher, but not where I was. And so he moved in with me, and I said, here's the rules. And he broke the rules, and I packed up his shit and I took him back to his house. Yep. And he looked at me like I was insane. Yeah. And I said, I'm the first fucker in your life that's ever not hit you, that's not spit on you, that's not belittled you, but that set a rule and stuck with it. Yeah. Because with his granny, you know, they'll bend. But you came home, they're just happy you're home. They're just fucking happy you're still alive. Yeah. And with me, I was not even running a tight ship. I just didn't want to be taken advantage of. And I wanted him to respect me for who I am. And I was learning, dude, I was fucking 24 years old at the time. Yeah. You know, I didn't know what I was doing. Yeah. I was trying my best. He's not my fucking kid, but I love him, and I've known him since he was in diapers. And, you know, he fucking, man, I'd done so many things for that kid, and it was an honor. Yeah. And so I would see him here and there, and then he went to jail, and his brother did some things that put you in jail forever. Yeah. And I won't say them to incriminate him, but there's a couple things you can do. Yeah. And luckily, his brother's only 11 months older than him, so most likely he's in prison for life. And the brother, the one I put the picture up, was in and out, in and out. Yeah. And finally, he got out, and he said, "You know, I don't want to sell dope." He's got a little daughter, and I realized if I buy cars at the auto auction and fix them up and sell them for a little bit more, I can do this. Yeah. So that's what he's doing right now. Awesome. And he was an incredible skateboarder at one point. Yeah. And it would have changed his life had he desired to do that. Yeah. And had the knowledge to do that. But at the time, and I used to fucking be so angry about this, that he chose to sell dope and be a gangster. Yeah. But he is a product of his environment. Yeah. And that is so real, right? That is a powerful thing. And if you don't have a dad, which he does not, and you don't have a male role model from your neck of the woods, because he figured out I was white.
Yeah.
He didn't know I was white. I remember the conversation like it was yesterday. And I
What do you
said,
mean?
he said, Theo, his cousin, he said, Theo said you're white. He's like 9 years old in the seat of my truck. And he's with his brother, and they both turn and look at me. Theo said you're a white boy. I said, yeah. And they go, well, you're not white. And I said, no, man, I'm white. And they go, no, you ain't white. I go, well, what's white? And they go, they did an impersonation of a nerd. They went, oh, yeah, hi, I'm John. And I go, oh, fuck. Okay. Isn't that nuts?
Yeah.
But when he said that, I went, holy shit. And I had this fucking realization that I was going to lose them.
Fuck.
Because skateboarding was for white folks. It was a gradual thing where as soon as they found out that I was a white boy,
yeah,
they couldn't like me as much as they wanted to.
Fuck.
Because there was this like stigma connected with it.
Yeah.
And the hood, you know, I was different. Shit. And it was cool if I stayed in my lane.
When was that? What year? Like what year?
Like, kind of... that would be 1989, 1990.
Yeah. Wow.
At one point, I really missed that kid, and our relationship wasn't good. I was pissed, and he felt abandoned, and we reconnected. And then my Jake was the editor of Thrasher, who was like a dad to me, and my mom's boyfriend. He was good to them.
Right.
Onio reconnected with him, and then Jake passed. And so it kind of made our bond even thicker. But, you know, that day at the skate contest, there's 1,000 people there. And I get the text, I see you.
Yeah.
I can't get to you. And when I finally got to him, you know, we were glued together at the hip for the next 3 hours. Yeah. And he was asking me questions because it was in our old neighborhood, the contest. And he said, where's the fire station? And I said, oh, they wiped it out, bro. It's the freeway now. Yeah. What? Where's the liquor store you used to walk me to? It's right there. It's gone, dude. It's fucking, It's the freeway wall. So I said I was going to buy him an old map to show him the neighborhood. But it's wild, dude. That guy, he'll write me YouYOUGOOT ? You good?
Yeah.
You good?
Shit.
I'm good. I say it back, right? I spell it the way I know to spell it.
Yeah.
He knows how to fucking probably spell it right, but that's how he says it. And we go back and forth, and he'll say this sometimes, love you. I said, love you too. I don't ever tell someone I don't love, I love them.
Yeah.
Okay. It's like, you know, that word gets thrown around a lot.
Yeah.
Especially on like Instagram and shit. And it's hard sometimes for me to tell him that I love him because we've been through hell and back.
Yeah.
You know, it's like and it's such a powerful word. I feel vulnerable saying it. He will always write, love you more.
Fuck.
And it's 10,000 pounds, dude.
Yeah, man.
And I see every day I didn't call him. I see every birthday I missed of his. I see every time I feel like I should have helped him. And I go, fuck. But it took everything. It took so much energy in my 20s. I would go get them, take them to school, get them home from school, try to do a fucking 8th grader's homework that has a 2nd grade education with them.
Yeah, man.
Bro, it's impossible. And it's exhausting.
Especially at that age. At that age as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a really difficult thing that's really beautiful. And I learned a lot from it. And I actually, to be honest with you, I still don't quite know how to navigate it.
Yeah.
And what happens is I'm terrified to let him back in 100%. because his life it's so gnarly,
Yeah, man.
you know? But every time I see him and he's still alive, he beat the odds. He
Fucking right.
has like fucking, this is one of those houses 12, 13 people are living in, right?
Fuck.
Someone's out turning tricks. Someone's on the corner at night. 4 people are on the corner at night. So the young kids are sleeping. When the young kids go to school, the people on the corner sleep on the couch, right? That's how it goes, right? That's why we have such a homeless problem in Oakland is someone with money buys a house, grandma gets the money, she's fucking done raising a bunch of fucking her daughters and people's kids. She moves to Reno, buys a house and says, I'm fucking out.
Right.
And those people get displaced.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't know that. It's the way that's how a lot of this happened in Oakland. Money came in and the displaced people, and those people thought they had a free ride on Granny's couch for the rest of their life. Oh. So letting someone back in like that is it's a huge undertaking.
Yeah.
And I got time to do shit that I love now.
Yeah.
And that sounds selfish, but circle back to like, this is our only chance at this life.
Yeah, totally.
And wouldn't it be a beautiful thing if I could fucking improve that dude's life, which I have.
Yeah.
How much eventually you can give so much because I did it in the past where you're doing more harm.
Yeah.
You're making it he had to learn a bunch of shit on his own, and I needed to get the fuck out of his way.
Yeah.
So the other day was all smiles and all stories and, laughing about shit.
Yeah.
And I take those as these little gifts. And he's got a daughter that he loves and he's good to his daughter. That's his path.
Yeah.
Right? If he needs me, he knows he can call. If I can help him, I will. If I can't, I have to be dead honest with him. And he might be mad at me for a year or two.
Yeah.
So,
and do you think that the impression I got from when I heard this story originally, and do you think that choppers that kind of saved you at like a difficult time, didn't it?
That was it, man. I say that in that Harlan video and I get pretty emotional about it, but I didn't realize I was just in the, you put your head down, you go to the factory, you make soup cans every day, right?
Yeah.
If you didn't have to go to the factory one day, you'd go, what the fuck, man? The day is long, or the day is this, right? Yeah. That's what happened is like, all of a sudden I was like, fuck, what do I do? Because I got a job. I would skateboard in the evening, like I said. Yeah. And then I was like, I have fucking energy because I'm not doing a 8-year-old's homework with him.
You were like the fucking parent. You were like,
yeah.
That's amazing, man.
Even when they weren't living at my house, they had moved out of my neighborhood to a city. It's 20 minutes away. Yeah. So I was carting them back and forth, and the one kid pretended he was selling crack one day, and they found like little baggies in his pocket because that's what all the older cousins did.
Yep.
So, that family wants me to pin him against the wall and smack the fuck out of him. Mm. They told me smack the fuck out of him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what I was dealing with. I don't fucking smack a child.
Yeah.
Right. So it was, and trust me, if I would have smacked him, it might have been more effective. But like, I can't fucking do that. Yeah. Right. But to give you an example, this is one thing I got off track. That kid had 8 uncles. I think one is alive.
Fuck.
One got shot in the back of the head, pushing his daughter on the swing set, right in front of his daughter. Another one was sleeping in his car. He had been, selling his shit at night, fell asleep in his car. They drove up, shot him in the head. It's all stories like that.
Yeah.
So sometimes I think I didn't do anything, and I actually think I did something because, you know, he don't know this, but yesterday he showed up in a Thrasher hooded sweatshirt and his Vans. And I know he put those Vans on in that Thrasher sweatshirt because he was going to the skate thing.
Yeah, man.
Everyone there that knows who he is treats him respectfully because they know, right?
Yeah.
I knew that he cared. I knew that he cared where he was going and that it meant something to him. So I know that I do have an effect. I did have an impact on him.
Totally.
But we're fed bullshit through movies and these crazy stories, right? In the book or in the movie we would make, we would be watching that motherfucker in the Olympics,
Totally.
you know, or in whatever. He made a career and he's lived happily ever after.
Yeah.
But in the real world, like I said, the blessing is he's alive. And my perspective, hey dude, I deal with these dudes doing 110 across an intersection.
Yeah.
Right? Running the stop sign. Just happened the other night. Rachel and I, if we wouldn't have stopped at the stop sign before, I wouldn't be talking to you today.
But
right? It's the Kia boys. They steal the Kia. They just smash cars on the street. And trust me, dude, it'll put some dark shit into your head.
Yeah.
I've been a sniper on the roof in my head, right?
Yeah.
I fucking killed so many fucking people in my head because you put my life in danger.
Yeah.
I think about the kids that live on my street.
Yeah.
Fucking breathe. Think about the ride last night. Think about the surf I had in the ocean. Think about my fucking dog. Think about where I want to be. And like I said, I'm not a religious person, but in my own prayer, pray that I can make it through the shit.
Yeah, man.
You know,
where do you want to be? You said 10, 20 years, you know where you want to be.
I want to be 60 miles north of here in this little town I'll leave unnamed, but there's several little towns.
Yeah.
Hopefully be able to have one of those, have a nice tree, have the dog, have the lady, maybe have a few dogs, have a nice fucking bike, have a nice old Chevy, have my health, and maybe I'm learning to play a banjo or some shit that I don't even know about yet. You know, maybe I'm got the potter's wheel or something, you know,
man.
But it's I know what makes me happy, and it ain't much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not crazy.
Yeah.
It's not that old fucker with $11 million and 200 bikes.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But you can't even start or ride.
Yeah, totally.
You know what I mean? So that's it, man. Just a little bit slower pace, a little bit more in the now.
Yeah.
A little bit more time for breathing, you know?
Yeah.
And maybe I can help some other fucking kid that needs it. You know, I don't have kids by choice. And it's a weird thing, man. I met a lady that feels the same way, and we love kids. It's just I had a lot of bullshit put upon me as a kid, and I don't want to put my bullshit on somebody. I'm not confident enough in my personality I will expect too much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And I really, man, I think I'm Uncle Max to so many people, right?
Yeah.
And that's cool with me.
Yeah.
Right. And if a kid or a neighbor or, you know, someone's fucking, their dad's being a fucking asshole to them and they go, hey man, what the fuck? Hey, here's how it works.
Yeah.
He's worried about you. He's this, that, you know, that's, I believe the kid I told you about, and I got another neighbor kid I've helped with. I was put here for that reason.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I totally get you. I totally get you. I have to work every single day to not put my upbringing on my kids, you know, because that I would not, you know, I mean, that's one of my worst fears that they grow up feeling the same way that I do. You know what I mean? So it's I get you, man. I totally get you.
Yeah. It's what I said about, you know, not choosing sides, and we got to stick together. You know,
Yeah.
I listen to the Joe Rogan dude. Some people love him, some people hate him. The one thing I appreciate at the guy is in his message is love in the end.
Yeah.
You know, his message is like,
Totally.
he'll interview people he doesn't like, even just to get their point of view.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's pretty fucking cool. If he says something wrong, he says it. I fucked up. I
Yeah.
was wrong about that. Dude, I hope the president of our country starts doing that shit. You know, not this one's asleep, but
Yeah.
the next one, you know, I
Yeah.
hope they say, and the one before was ridiculous. It's
Yeah.
embarrassing. But I can't wait till the one where he goes, man, I fucked that up.
Yeah.
I got some misinformation and I didn't use my better judgment. And to my Americans, my fellow Americans, I'm so sorry.
The respect that comes with that shit, like, you know, the fact that nobody's kind of cottoned on to that's all you need to do.
Yep.
If you would just admit,
Yep.
you know,
Dude, my mom said I said something rude to her the other day, and I wanted to be like, psh.
Yeah.
And I said, fuck, this is my mom. It took courage for her to say that. And I was being a fucking asshole. I didn't want to hear what she's saying.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm so sorry. I'll work on it. You know, like, how hard was that?
Totally. Totally. Thank you so much, man. Seriously. I really appreciate you coming on.
Man, it's been a blast.
And
you got it. So funny because when I got on, I was going to be like, hey, dude, let's keep it short and sweet, 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do whatever you need to do.
Yeah.
Cool, there's nothing I said that I regret. There's yeah, not at all.
Nah, I'm happy with that one. Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, buddy. Seriously. I appreciate it. And
okay.
Have a good day, man.
You too.